tricky decisions to be made. Look at them all having a look round, looking at the skies as well. What's going to happen? What a season he has had, though.
It was just really the hiccup in Jerez, wasn't it? And that wasn't his fault, obviously, when he got brought down by Valentino Rossi. And then just look at it before and after that. An amazing season for Casey Stoner.
Yeah, every race apart from that on the podium.
Be a very difficult man to beat today, I think. But the conditions may play a part in the race and in the result. At the moment, one would imagine it's going to be declared a dry race, but you're not quite sure here. As I said at the start, we got through the 125 and Moto 2, so...
yeah, but with rain coming down all the way through. And well, we saw that, we have seen that earlier on this year at Barcelona. I think it happened during the race there. A little bit in Australia, of course, the rain coming towards the end of that race too. Really caused a few problems. So it was heavy rain there suddenly, wasn't it? Whereas here it's steadily spitting throughout the afternoon. It's not pretty.
No, it's not. Great support for Danny Pedrosa. No wonder why with his record here. As I say, 2 MotoGP wins, 1 125, 2 250s. It was an amazing record here. And very good to see a Yamaha back on the front row of the grid. And good to see Ben Spies back on the front row of the grid as well. He's had a tough old time recently. He's been battered about a little bit in the crash in Phillip Island, then the crash in Sepang, and he missed both races. And he crashed here on Friday, but he's put the Yamaha on the front row of the grid.
Yeah, hasn't been on the podium since Indianapolis, so if he could finish the season with a rostrum spot, it would be a nice boost for him going to test. He's so looking forward to testing and getting onto those 1000cc bikes.
This is Randy Lapune, qualified 4th fastest, so close to a front row start on the Pramac Ducati. 16th in the World Championship. It's been a miserable old time for him, but he won the race here, the 250s in 2003. Best qualifying of the year. And in funny old conditions, he could be a man to really watch out for a podium finish.
He's looked good all weekend, I think, and he's willing to take a few risks here and there, and he's always quick. And I think it'll be a good gamble for someone next year. Will it be Suzuki? Will it be LCR Honda? Will it be anyone else for Randy Lapune? We know Bautista wants to stay with Suzuki. And the talk is, the almost rumour confirmation is that they will be around maybe with even 2 bikes next year. Let's hope that is the case.
We're just going for a quick word with Josh Hayes. Josh, first MotoGP experience. You've had it wet, you've had it dry. The conditions don't look like they're going to change much for this race. How are you approaching this one?
It's kind of a baptism of fire, I think. You know, it's been an insightful weekend, but very challenging. You know, we'll have to see how it plays out. It's been very difficult. I'm very nervous. I think maybe lap 3 or 4 I'll settle down. So let's see how the first couple go, though.
Okay, Josh, best of luck.
And let's not forget that he was quickest in the warm-up this morning when he went with slicks. Everyone else had gone with wet tyres, and yeah, he was fastest in the warm-up this morning. You wouldn't have been imagining that before the weekend. And here is Valentino Rossi. What chance is him signing off the season with a race win or with a podium?
I don't know about a race win, but I think if the conditions stay like this, he could well be on the podium. And I tell you what, I think he thinks that as well.
He has never had a Grand Prix season without a race win, though, Nick.
Wow. I think
this may be the one today.
Yeah, he's crashed out of the last 2 races, don't forget, as well.
Without giving out the results in the Moto 2 class, there was a pretty special victory there. So
yeah, you're right. I understand what you mean.
Stars aligning, those kind of things.
This is Nicky Hayden on the second of the factory Ducatis. He's qualified on the 3rd row, 7th fastest, 8th in the World Championship. 7 points behind Valentino Rossi.
He just his face there as if to say, I don't know, what are we going to do out here? It's tricky.
You choose the tyres, boys. I don't. Second here in 2005, and of course famously 3rd in 2006 when he went and won the world title. Rare crash, wasn't it, for Andrea Dovizioso in qualifying?
A change in his front suspension. I wonder if they're going from a wet to a dry setting or vice versa. Let's have a look. I wonder what they're doing. It'd be interesting to see what brakes they're putting in the front there, if they are changing those brakes. Is he going to go with a different setup on that bike? There's his data technician just chatting with him about the mapping they'll put out on the bike. He was heavily affected by Marco Simoncelli's tragic death because they were well, not ever friends, but rivals since a very young age. And he said, look, we didn't need to say anything, but we both respected each other. We were both honest and true with each other all the time. Looks to be like carbon front brakes.
It does, yeah.
I wonder if he's gone from a wet to a dry setting.
Andrejovic so desperate to stay third in the championship. He signs off for Honda this afternoon and joins Yamaha in the Tech 3 team next season.
And he wants to finish third in the championship.
Oh,
of course,
doesn't he
Dani
just?
Pedrosa is 4 points behind him. So is he going to be able to hang on to third place ahead of his Honda colleague?
Hector Barbara done well to qualify on that third row, 9th fastest. As I said earlier, 125 and 250 winner, 8th here last year. Recovering from that horrendous crash he had in Motegi in Japan. He wants to sign off the season in good style with the Aspartings. It does look like he will be with Pramac Ducati next year. I think a lot's going to happen tonight, and it does about 6 o'clock. Suddenly the old press releases and everything
will come in.
Starts rattling along, don't
they?
they?
All know, but they won't tell us.
No.
It's not on.
We won't tell anybody else, will we?
Promise not to. Carol Abraham heads up row 4. And he's had a decent season, but it's a big battle with Cal Crutchlow today. Whoever finishes ahead of the two of them will be Rookie of the Year. Well, there's 1 point separating them in the championship, but just having a look, yeah, I think because he's had 7th place twice, if Abraham is ahead of Crutchlow, even in 1 place, and they're level on points, I believe Carol Abraham would take the Rookie of the Year trophy. Yeah, he would.
Of course, he won the Moto2 race here last year. Cal Crutchlow won the Supersport race here a couple of years ago, so it's a great battle for Rookie of the Year. Okay, it's 2 riders in it, but it means an awful lot to both the riders. Cal Crutchlow looking very focused. It can't be easy going out there in these conditions. On a MotoGP bike, it's a very, very tough indeed. As I say, he has got success. He was in pole position also in the World Superbike races here last year. Didn't do so well in the races, but actually started in pole. So he knows the Valencia circuit well, and he wants to finish Rookie of the Year. Of course he does.
Yeah, it means a lot. He knows he's got a tough year ahead. Wet race is declared. Wow. So wet race has been done. That means they can use whichever tyres they like from the off, and they can change whenever they want. Not, I mean, if it was dry race, they could use wet tyres, but you wouldn't be able to come in and change them until the white flags came out.
Well, we had a good chat, didn't we, about Loris Capirossi earlier, but we waved goodbye to him as a Grand Prix rider, and well, an amazing career. 328 Grand Prix, there's 29 wins, 99 podiums, 3 world titles, 22 years of just racing at the very highest level in all the different classes.
It will be sad to see Loris Capirossi leave this championship, but he's given so much. He'll go as a legend of the sport.
Tony Elias, been a very difficult year for him in the LCR, on the LCR bike, but he's been second here 3 times, and good results in MotoGP here, 6th in 06 and 09, but 15th in the World Championship, and obviously he will part from the LCR team after this race. There's Jorge Lorenzo. We've had a chat with him, and what an emotional weekend for Hiroshi Oyama.
Ciao Marco, it says on the side of his bike, you're one of us as well. Yeah, really tough weekend for him, for the whole of the Grassini team. And there is Jorge Lorenzo's replacement in the Yamaha team this weekend. Test rider Katsuyuki Nakasuga for the 2nd race in succession.
So it's going to be 30 laps. Josh Hayes, when I were with him, he is nervous. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But he has really done himself proud, I can tell you, in very, very difficult circumstances. And to go out and take a bit of a gamble this morning and to lead the way in the morning warm-up. As you always say, you get that old red book out and you check morning warm-up, and it would say Josh Hayes top. We won't want to know the circumstances. Brilliant. Safety car out for the final time this year. Been a very mixed season, hasn't it? Started in Qatar under the floodlights, and we end in the damp conditions here in Qatar, in Valencia. Special helmet design for Valentino Rossi.
Yeah, they're just clearing everyone from the grid now. 4.5 minutes to the start of this race. That's Prenduccio there. Just a couple of last bits of information of what the other riders are doing, who's on what. We're going to get a glimpse now. Yeah, they're all gone for the slick tyres, even though it's a wet race. They've gone for that option. They've gone for the softer options, though. That's the main thing. Soft front and the medium rear are the two squishiest options out there, I suppose, the ones that will heat up quickest as well and hopefully last the length of the race. I'm sure they will if it's that chilly out there, which it appears to be. Let's have a look at the front row as well. I'm sure they're all going to go soft front. So no. Well, actually, for Stoner and Spears, I suppose, but Stoner especially, he prefers the feeling of that. And in fact, he set his fast time in qualifying on that tyre. So your front row of the grid, we've got Speeds on the medium, and he's on the medium rear as well. You've got Danny Pedrosa on soft front medium rear, and Casey Stoner lines up in pole position with a soft front, the medium front, sorry, and the medium rear. That is your front row of the grid for the final race of what will be a 17-round MotoGP World Championship. And just 2 weeks on, this will be their tribute to Marco Simoncelli.
So welcome back, final round of the MotoGP World Championship here at Valencia in Spain. I'm Nick Harris, sitting alongside me Gavin Emmett, down in pit lane Joe Carandor. 30 laps of the Ricardo Tormo circuit. Front row, Casey Stoner, his 12th pole of the season, Danny Pedrosa and Ben Spies on the Yamaha.
Best qualifying of the year for Rani de Punier. Watch out for Bautista and Rossi. They've been around those podium positions recently and will be desperate to get one in this final race.
Third row of the grid, Nicky Hayden, Andrea Dovizioso fighting to stay third in the championship, and Hector Barbara.
Rookie of the year battle down in 10th and 11th between Carol Abraham and Cal Crutchlow. And Loris Capirossi signs off from his illustrious Grand Prix career.
Row 5, Tony Elias, Hiroshi Oyama and Nagasuka replacing the injured Jorge Lorenzo. And Josh Hayes, 36 years old, makes his Grand Prix debut.
So Casey Stoner on pole for that record-equaling 12th time in the 2011 season. Okay, Mick Doohan may have done 12 out of 15 in 97, but no one else has managed it in all the time. And so Stoner, 12 times he started from the front. A deserved world champion as well. No Jorge Lorenzo in this race, but Danny Pedrosa, who's currently 4th in the championship, can hope to take 3rd from Andrea Dovizioso today. Final weather report, Joe, for us as the riders push away from their starting grid positions for the final warm-up lap.
Yeah, just the last word on the weather before the start of the race as they go out for that final lap is very, very light spots of rain. Obviously, we've seen a lot of them going for the slick option tyres. The track surface looks not too bad at the moment, but well, it's a complete lottery as to how the weather goes, as we've seen this weekend.
Yeah, 30 laps. The weather can certainly change in that period of time here. There's the temperatures. It's not warm. It's not warm in the air. It's even colder actually out on the track. Not a great deal of wind to blow it around and about. And as I think Gab was saying earlier this morning, in the stadium section though, it's very difficult to work things out, isn't it? Because the wind buffets around a little bit.
That first right-hander there, turn 4, will be tricky, and I expect we'll see someone having a bit of a moment through there at some point in the race, because they're on the left-hand side of the tyre for so long out of turn 12. Round turn 13, 14, tight one brings them back to the start-finish. 1 is a fast left-hander, 2 and 3 as well. They're accelerating through 3, and then onto the right-hand side, and it's cold, it's chilly. When the wind's whipping up and it's only 15 degrees Celsius on track, then it's tough. Loris Capirossi, a fabulous set of leathers for his final appearance. He's riding with the number 58 as well of Marco Simoncelli. What an emotional, a special day for Loris Capirossi as he bids the championship farewell. Riders file their way through out of turn 11. There's Stoner, he likes to wait for the other riders to come through. Tony Elias just behind him. He'd have been praying for rain, I suppose, before this one. Well, he's not done too bad in the tricky conditions all weekend as they come round the penultimate corner, turn 13, and this is that all-important final corner on the circuit, turn 14.
Welcome to the final round of the MotoGP World Championships here at the Ricardo Tormo circuit, Valencia in Spain. I'm Nick Harris, sitting alongside me Gavin Emmett, down in pit lane Joe Carandor. 30 laps, the championship already decided, but a great battle for 3rd place between the Honda riders, Andrea Dovizioso and, of course, Danny Pedrosa. Front row, Stoner, Pedrosa and Spies. Casey Stoner, 12 pole positions. He equals Mick Doohan's record He chases his 10th Grand Prix victory of the season. For the last time this season, the lights change.
Away they go, good start from Dani Pedrosa. When have we never said that? Here we go, is Valentino Rossi had a good start as well. He has. Who are we on board with there? It's Andrea Dovizioso, and down goes Bautista. There's a huge pile-up down into turn one. Rossi goes down, De Punier goes down, and that was all from Dovizioso by the looks of things. Both Ducatis have been taken out in the first corner. Bautista's getting the blame, but I think his front wheel was taken by Andrea Dovizioso, who we were on board with, and it's Stoner leading from Pedrosa in second place, Spies in third, and Dovizioso up to fourth. Fifth is Capirossi, believe it or not. Sixth, Cal Crutchlow. Seventh for Tony Elias. Then it's Abraham, Nakasuga, Hayes, Barbara and Aoyama, who are all caught up in that crash at the first corner. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Valentino Rossi walks away. Nicky Hayden walks
holding
away.
His wrist though, Hayden, his right wrist he was hanging on to.
Alvaro Bautista tries to pick up the Suzuki out of the gravel trap. What a dramatic start to the race. Turn one, 4 riders, I think all of them perhaps fancying a chance of a podium nibble out of the race.
Oh, Cal Crutchlow through on Loris Capirossi, running that number 58 in honour of his compatriot Marco Simoncelli. And Crutchlow through into 5th place ahead of Carol Abraham, who's tracking it. If it finished like that, Crutchlow would be Rookie of the Year. Elias also goes through on Loris Capirossi, who feels the most comfortable in these extremely tricky conditions out on track. Well, at the moment, it's Stoner who leads the way out of the final corner. It doesn't look like we're going to get a red flag. This race will continue for another 29 laps, and it's just 12 riders in it.
Pedrosa in second place already, the gap building up, yellow flag still being waved. So bikes obviously still down in the gravel trap after that crash down at turn one at the start of the race. It's going to be a good battle.
Elias has just gone past Abraham under that yellow flag for my money. He went round the outside as if Abraham was holding to the inside, but he did go round. He's got to give that place back, I'd have thought, to Carol Abraham.
Let's have a look.
Now look, this was it. It was just Dovizioso going front. Oh, and he just clips the front of Bautista, who catches Rossi, who then takes down like dominoes then. Oof, De Punier's lucky to walk away. He got caught right in the crunch there. But I don't think there was anything Bautista could do. I'm not sure even. Dovizioso was very tight, but he just cleared out the front wheel of Alvaro Bautista. Oof, and he caught Valentino Rossi at the back there as well.
It's like a pack of cards, wasn't it? Just one went and it just took the others outside him. Oh, desperate start to the race here in Valencia. Rossi just says, what the hell is going on? Well, I can tell you what's going on in the race. Casey Stoner has disappeared into the distance. But as he always says, I remember him saying at Phillip Island, doesn't like leading the way like this in these conditions because you're the guinea pig. You've got to test out. It looks like a good race behind them, though.
Yeah, because Dovizioso's right on the rear of Spies, who in turn has closed up on Dani Pedrosa. And of course, Dovizioso has one aim today, and that is finishing ahead of his teammate Dani Pedrosa. Slight slip from Pedrosa going through. It can't be fun in that turn 13. You can see spots of rain still on the camera lens as well. It is treacherous out there.
Pedrosa 3 wins this season. We ride with Dovizioso, I think, and got up the inside of Ben Spies. Let's see as we go down into turn one. He's through. He means business, Andrea Dovizioso. He wants to finish third in the championship. He wants to show Honda they made a mistake saying closing the door on him, and he's gone up the inside now of Dani Pedrosa and up into second place.
There were no yellow flags there, just for anyone thinking they may have been at home. They've been taken away at that point from in front of Andrea Dovizioso. Across the line, by the way, Elias did give up the place to Carol Abraham again. So he did give up 6th place back to the Czech rider.
Stoner's cleared off at the front, but this is going to be a fierce old battle for second place. Up into third place comes Ben Spies. Pedrosa now relegated to 4th. This is no good in his battle for third place in the championship.
Oh, this is going to be fierce. This one's hotting up nicely in the chilly conditions. Now, Rossi comes back and he's going to say, what happened? Have you got it? Have you got it on the video? And he just said, look, Dovizioso was there in front and I think as he pulled across to break into the corner, just clipped the front wheel of Alvaro Bautista. I'm not sure how race direction will look at that, but for my money, yeah, he went in extremely hard, but he was ahead, wasn't he, of Bautista going into the corner and just maybe pulled across slightly, but just to make the first corner.
3 crashes in succession for Valentino Rossi.
Oh, never in his career before has that happened.
Cal Crutchlow running in 5th place. There's going to be some funny
Of course,
results
and
here for so many out.
that's not counting, of course, in Sepang, because that doesn't actually count as a race. But in Australia and in Motegi as well. Woof. Ben Spies there almost collected the back of Andrea Dovizioso coming into
Turn one, wasn't it? And
yeah.
he had the big crash there Friday, didn't he, when he got onto the white line there, Ben Spies. I can't believe Pedrosa's going to hand this third place in the championship to Andrea Dovizioso without a great fight. But they are very, very wary of the conditions.
Ben Spies then having a little bit of a lurch up on the inside of Danny Pedrosa. There are spots of rain out there. Cal Crutchlow currently in 5th place. That would be his best result of his rookie season. If Abraham was 6th, that would be his too. And of course they're battling for Rookie of the Year, but Crutchlow a little bit wide coming out of turn 6.
Well, that would be enough, wouldn't it, for Crutchlow to take the Rookie of the Year. Well, this is the battle for the second.
Dovizioso a bit wider in 8, but runs it back across on the exit.
As Alvaro Bautista trying to explain it.
Nothing he could do.
Oh, he looks mighty disappointed, as I'm sure he is. This is Ben Spies. Good to see him back out on the track after missing the last 2 Grand Prix. He's really flying the Yamaha flag here against the might of Honda. Can he get on the podium? Can he separate Danny Pedrosa and Andrea Dovizioso? Can he finish in front of them?
Interestingly, Crutchlow is closing on this group. He, on that last lap, was quicker than both Spies and Pedrosa. In fact, he was half a second quicker than Pedrosa on that previous lap, and the gap is 1.7 seconds. We're forgetting, by the way, all about Casey Stoner, who's at the front doing 1:34.7, 1.3 seconds quicker than anybody else out on track.
We ride down into turn 1. This is some ride actually by Cal Crutchlow. So this is the opportunity you've got to take if things happen in races. The opportunity is there for him and Carol Abraham to have some really, really good results. We ride with Ben Spies. It's the 2 Repsol Hondas in front of him, Andrea Dovizioso and Danny Pedrosa.
That right-hander always. I can see how wide Ben Spies is going in there. He's obviously not comfortable going through that first right-hander. Just wants to get a bit of heat into the tyres, and then turn 5 a bit more confident.
Well, there is Alvaro Bautista and Nicky Hayden. Well, a bit of an apology going on. Both of them out of the race here in Valencia.
And this was why. Look at Andrea Dovizioso on the right of your screens. Now, Bautista was forced to roll off there and went behind Dovizioso. Dovizioso just, there's nothing. I think it's just a racing incident as far as I'm concerned. Both Rossi and Depunier lucky not to get caught up in that one. You just see it's like pack of cards, dominoes, whatever. Down they all went. Ooh, it wasn't a pretty sight at all. All the Yamaha riders escaped, and the airbag gone off inside Rossi. Nicky Hayden knows he was cleared out as well.
Oh, look at Nicky Hayden, he is absolutely furious.
Good on Bautista though for going into the garage, braving the wrath of the Ducati riders. But
that's
just
right,
say,
it wasn't one, it was 2 he had to speak to, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, it wasn't me. Oh, Ducati. After their season, it just sums it up, doesn't it? That kind of result.
Well, I think this is going to save the race, don't you? This battle for second place. It looks like it's going to go a long, long way.
Here comes Pedrosa on the inside up into turn 2. And if it finished like this, Pedrosa, on exit, Dovizioso's going to come through, is he? No. Cutting across his nose, Pedrosa into turn 3. If it ended like this, Pedrosa would be 3rd in the championship.
Yeah, it's a pretty poignant race between these two. Obviously, with Pedrosa remaining at Honda and Dovizioso, well, being shown the door, really, you've got to say, not going to get a factory bike and go to Yamaha. There's quite a lot resting on this particular battle, as it's going to be for 3rd place in the championship.
Josh Hayes running down in 10th has built up a 15-second lead over Hector Barbara and Hiroki Ayano.
Yeah, I think they were at the start of the race were just completely shut out by that crash on the first lap, forced to run it wide, picked the bikes up completely. Hayes looking to escape with that one. Yeah, he's got a comfortable lead. Top 10 finish in your only MotoGP ride, not too bad.
You've got to say, it was the last thing that MotoGP wanted, a crash like that. Thank goodness that everybody was okay, but you know, obviously the sport in the spotlight at the moment, and then a crash like that, it just shows that...
you know, as well, one other thing it shows, Nick, is that you know, you have these crashes, and in the main, we know that safety's there. Look at the amount of runoff there was there. The airbag going off inside Rossi's leathers as well. Dovizioso back in front of Pedrosa briefly. Pedrosa fight. Oh, this was a previous one. Sorry, down at turn 1. That's when Pedrosa went through on his teammates. And he's pulling away slightly, but you know, 4 riders gone down right next to each other, crashed together, and they've all walked away from it.
That's right. Everything cleared up. Not the race hadn't even got to be stopped. Dead right. So full marks to all the safety. Saw the airbags going off in the back of the leathers and everything else. This is going to be a battle that's, I'm not going to say they save this race, but they really mean business, these two. They're not known, are they, Pedrosa and Dovizioso, for being
Scrappers.
really scrappers and aggressive, but they seem to have thrown a bit of caution to the wind now.
They're going to have to. If it's second and third, then they finish level on points if it's just like this. It's the other way around. Dovizioso is third in the championship, but if it's like as it is now, Pedrosa will be third, but they'll be on the same points, but he has won 3 races. If Spies gets ahead of them and it finishes like that, because there'll only be 3 points separating them on track, then it would stay as it is in the championship, and Dovizioso will be third, just the points separating them overall. But we'll work that out when we get to the end.
Thank goodness Gav's sitting alongside me, because I'm just way beyond my ability as a mathematician to work all that out.
Well, yeah, your abacus, you struggle to get it in your laptop bag, don't you?
Yeah, especially when you come on the flights I come on.
So Dovizioso reclaims second place from Dani Pedrosa into that turn 14. That is a very hard corner, and we have seen so many races decided in that corner as well. Dovizioso's reclaimed it. Carol Abraham has got through on Cal Crutchlow on that lap too.
I can work that bit out then. So he's Rookie of the Year as it stands at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to run all the way through.
Simple one there. If Abraham finishes ahead of Crutchlow, then Abraham is Rookie of the Year. If it's the other way round, then Crutchlow is Rookie of the Year.
This is the battle for second place in the race, and it's in third place in the World Championship. So desperate to sign off with a victory, just to say to Honda bye-bye, but you know, I was third in the championship. I finished in front of Dani Pedrosa, but I'm going to a Yamaha. This should rain all the way through. Carol Abraham, well, he did win the Moto2 race here last year, so he knows about winning here. Actually, and Cal Crutchlow won the World Supersport race here a couple of years ago.
Now, lap times, 1:35.7 from Stoner. He's 6 seconds clear, so he's probably sneezed off slightly, but they're well off where they were in free practice in the dry conditions. They were down to the 32s, 33s, so Jost, in terms of conditions, still spitting a little bit out there.
It's not actually spitting now.
Brilliant.
We've brought a new dimension to weather forecasting. Spitting. That's our word for the weekend, is it? But that's what the rain has been like so often. They've done well to get through the 2 races before this one, and I reckon they'll get through this one as well. Casey Stoner, he is in a league of his own at the moment. Absolutely in a league of his own.
On that last lap, Dovizioso didn't make up any time whatsoever. Dani Pedrosa, he got past Dovizioso going down into turn 1? No, I don't think so. He hangs in behind in second place.
Good to see Ben Spies in there really fighting for a second place.
Well, he's ready to pounce if something happens.
And there he is, Loris Capirossi. Enjoy this moment, obviously, with the number 58.
Now, 7th place would be his best result of the season. So that will be a good result. Look at how close they're all going. In second place, Dovizioso leads from Pedrosa in third, and then it is Ben Spies in fourth, trying to decide the podium positions. One of these will miss out and end the day gutted at their performance.
We rode with Ben Spies momentarily there. I bet he's fed up with seeing those orange bikes in front of him.
A possibility of the first 1, 2, 3 of the season.
Yeah, don't forget Ben Spies won in quite similar conditions, didn't he, in Assen, when the conditions were not easy at all when he won his one and only Grand Prix. He settled into this race well. He's had a big old bang on Friday, but he is biding his time. But there's other things at issue, isn't it, for Pedrosa and Dovizioso, as well as finishing second in the race.
You see Capirossi just grabbing that throttle earlier than so. Leg comes off.
Please be careful.
Down the home straight for Loris Capirossi, just ahead of Tony Elias into 7th place.
Across the line they go, 21 laps to go, still a long way. 9 laps gone, Dovizioso, Pedrosa and Ben Spies. Down into turn 1, Carol Abraham just still in front of Cal Crutchlow. The battle for the Rookie of the Year. We ride with Loris Capirossi. Now we watch him, 38 years old, his last ever Grand Prix appearance. Behind him, well, I suppose the former Moto2 world champion, Tony Elias, in 8th place. Here is Tony Elias. Good record here in the MotoGP World Championship, 2 6th places, also 3 second places in the 125 and 250cc classes, but a wretched season for him in MotoGP. Bye-bye, Loris Capirossi. Tony Elias, where will you be next year?
It'll be interesting. Now we are so lucky to be joined in the commentary booth as things have just settled down now here. 20.5 laps to go by second place runner-up in the championship this year, unfortunately not riding, Jorge Lorenzo. Thanks very much for being here and joining us, Jorge. First of all, we just have to ask, how are you?
Now I'm perfect.
How's the hand?
I'm very quiet. Any nervous now? It's okay. No, to be honest, I would prefer to stay there with these guys and racing with my Yamaha. But it's not possible. Now my finger is not already perfect, so it's better to wait and to see this race like a spectator.
Yeah, as you said before, difficult for the test later on this week, of course. How difficult are these riders going to be finding it out there? Because there's those little spots of rain out there.
This is the main reason for what I prefer to stay here with you guys and to be there, because now the conditions are really difficult. It seems that now the track and the tarmac seems quite dry, but not completely perfect. No, there is some water going on the track, and this is not very funny for the riders.
That's such a tough corner, turn one. You just see Ben Spies having a few problems into that turn one. He has done a couple of times actually in this in this weekend overall. It's a tough corner, isn't it, turn one here. But it's a lot quicker than it looks on the television.
It's really difficult because you can brake very late, but then if you brake so late, then you can enter with a very high corner speed. No? So Ben is always a very hard braker. So with these guys, with Danny especially, it's difficult not to arrive very late and very far from Danny and try to pass him. In these conditions, it's very difficult, but he's trying.
This is a great battle for second place, third place in the championship up for grabs here. Danny Pedrosa and Andrea Dovizioso are really going for it. Casey Stone is cleared off at the front with a lot of pride at stake in this particular battle. Dovizioso still leads the way from Pedrosa, and Ben Spies in 4th place.
Pedrosa had a little look on the inside of Andrea Dovizioso there. If you were a betting man, I'm sure you're not, Jorge. If you had money, who would you put your money on?
He's got money. Don't worry about that.
I'm sure he's not a betting man, though. Come on, he's a racer. He only thinks of money on Lorenzo to win every single week.
I have a little money, I have money.
But what about who would you choose?
I
don't like to bet, okay.
And
a bit like Gavin, actually.
Today less than ever. The Honda guys are making a great show, overtaking a lot of times. Casey seems in another world, and Ben is trying the best he can to stay with Andrea and Danny. But it's not so easy because the Honda here seems very competitive in this very important acceleration track and very fluid and very slow. No?
How just in terms of these two, how important will third place be? I know you all want to win. You're all winners out there. How important?
It's true. They are fighting for the third place. Oof. Then it's normal that they are trying so hard now.
And I've got to say, this is a battle as well, isn't it, between Crutchlow and Abraham for Rookie of the Year, and Crutchlow's got back in front of him.
Are you surprised by, Carol Abraham, lots of people, we just see Danny Pedrosa go through, turn 14 on the circuit. That's a tough corner, isn't it? The last one on the track.
There is 18 laps to go.
Yeah, still a long way to go. You don't normally see this with Danny and Andrea.
Yeah, we were saying earlier, great riders, so they're not probably the most aggressive riders. Sometimes we see Danny and Andrea, but they seem to be pretty aggressive this afternoon.
Yeah, they are in hot, no? Now they are trying. There is a lot of race to the end, so maybe it's better wait a little bit more to attack, but they are trying in every corner. So
It's like a 1-2
it's
fight. Is this Moto 2? Andrea Dovizioso there was thinking about going through at turn 5. He somehow managed to bring it
and
round.
Ben is taking advantage from the situation.
Yeah.
now.
Because as they chop and change, their lap time slowing, and Ben Spies can just keep away at his own rhythm and ready to pick up the pieces. But you can tell it means a lot to them to finish in third place in the championship. This is going to go down to the wire. We were just talking about the rookies there, Abraham and Crutchlow. They're swapping positions in every single corner as well. And that will be something to be proud of, being Rookie of the Year in the MotoGP World Championship.
Yeah, of course. I don't know which of them are more excited to fight and to be the rookies or the third position. But of course, it's important to finish there and to be rookie. And Abraham and Crutchlow, they all make a very good season. Especially Abraham, because he comes from Moto2, which is not the same as the biggest bikes, but it's an interesting fight. Yeah.
It will go down to the wire, I'm sure. Just 1 point separating them in the championship. We're on board with Ben Spies.
You're just coming down to turn 1, Jorge. Obviously, there was the big incident. Did you see the big incident at the start of the race? Oh, how unfortunate was that?
Do you think anyone was at fault?
It's difficult when you make a start. Everyone is very close to the other. So Bautista braced a little bit late, and he took the rear wheel of Andrea, and then everything goes.
Like dominoes.
Cards.
Well, it was a real shame. 4 riders out on that very first lap, on the very first corner as well. Just about, I want you to ask you about your fingers. We're watching this race obviously so intensely at the front. When will it be back to 100%?
Never.
Never, no. Okay, well, I suppose it's not at 100% in terms of length, is it? No.
Never. Maybe to 80%.
Yeah.
But never 100%. But fortunately, I will be fit enough to be at the same level than before.
That's the main thing.
I will not have any handicap. And this is the important thing. Of course, visually it's not very pretty, and
No, we don't want to have a look at it. Thank you.
it's okay. It's okay.
And what about Casey Stoner? Obviously, bitterly disappointed to lose the World Championship to him, but he has been magnificent this year, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He takes almost all the pole positions, 12 pole positions, and now he's gonna win the 10 Grand Prix, I guess. You know, this year I couldn't do anything for avoid Casey's championship. So congratulations to him, and he has been fantastic. And also his brand Honda has been very good. No?
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously now we're all thinking about next year, the 1000cc bikes. How is it going to change things for MotoGP next year? What will fans who are going to be tuning in for the first race in Qatar, what will they be seeing? Will it be more exciting, do you think?
A lot. The bikes will be much more powerful, more or less 20 horsepower more. This a lot, and at the end of the straight.
in Qatar as well, 1 kilometer straight
in Qatar. I can imagine how fast we will arrive at the end of the straight. Maybe 350 or less.
That's over 200 miles an hour by a long way.
It's a lot,
15 nearly, yeah.
Much more acceleration, I guess much more sliding. So it's going to be very exciting next year, and I hope Yamaha can be more competitive, and we can fight again for being world champion again.
We want that. Everybody wants that who's watching in. This is Katsuyuki Nakasuga, who's riding Jorge Lorenzo's bike out there today, battling with Josh Hayes, who had got through into 9th position ahead of him. Hayes is doing particularly well in his first appearance on board a MotoGP bike, battling there with Nakasuga. We'll just watch them come down to the first corner again, as we just watch the fans, like a tennis match the way they watch them. What's it like watching Nakasuga on your bike? Is that really hard to watch him?
Yeah, as you said, no, it's like took me off my girlfriend, no, something like that. Well, this year my girlfriend has been not very sometimes very correct with me, especially Phillip Island. But it's okay.
You forgive
it's
her.
beautiful, and sometimes it's fast. So I love it.
I tell you what, your teammate's doing a good job here, isn't he, Ben Spies? He's hanging on to the Hondas.
Yeah. This is the important thing, to be there fighting with the Hondas in the last race of the season is very important for Yamaha.
Half the race down, half the race to go here in Valencia now, and Stoner has led right from the off. Done a fantastic job, but we've still got a brilliant battle for the podium going on behind him. 10 seconds between Casey Stoner and Andrea Dovizioso, currently in second place, and currently he is third placed in the World Championship behind Jorge Lorenzo and Casey Stoner. Then Dani Pedrosa in third, Ben Spies in fourth. He's just there, sitting tight and waiting. Nothing is decided yet. There's still such a long way to go.
Pedrosa coming under a little bit of pressure now from Ben Spies. Dovizioso trying to break away. They're down the start and finish straight, down towards turn 1. 14 laps ago, so we're only just over half distance. Way up, does that mean perhaps the weather may be changing?
Joe, what's the latest weather update from pit lane? Come on.
Well, it is spitting very lightly, and as you can see, the teams are warming up their second bikes. Conditions haven't changed all that much, too drastically, but well, I mean, over the next few laps, if the rain does start to come down, we might see some people coming in and trying to change.
You could see sometimes on some of the laps, Dovizioso was strong a couple of laps before, and then Pedrosa's been stronger on this last lap as well. Would it have to be lots of rain now for them to want to come in to change bikes?
Yeah or not, because going there with the slicks is really dangerous. So sometimes you prefer not to take so many risks, even if you go at the same pace, that to take this risk. No, now it seems that the track is okay for going with the dry tires, and now the weakest position to be there is Andreas one, because he don't know how is the next corner, and Dani and Ben has the best position in this group. No?
Yeah, just looking at the lap time, Stoner's dropped it to a 1:36.7 now. Dovizioso and his crew behind him there, 1:35.7. Pedrosa 1:35.9. Speed 35.8. All very, very similar. A second quicker than Stoner, but Stoner's just managing that lead at the moment. Doesn't need to take too much of a risk, but they are considerably down on the practice times in the full dry conditions, just showing how nervous they must be out there on the bike. And so, just as they come across the line, there are 13 laps remaining in this MotoGP race.
Well, the battle still rages between Cal Crutchlow and Karel Abraham, but there we are. Loris Capirossi on his last ever Grand Prix appearance.
Capirossi in 7th place. You can see that Abraham and Crutchlow, it's still raging, the battle between them. It's still going on. 5th and 6th places, but if Abraham finishes in front, he's Rookie of the Year. Crutchlow finishes in front, he is Rookie of the Year. So it will go down to turn 14, that final corner. I want to ask you one final thing, Jorge. The tragedy of a couple of weeks ago out in Malaysia. You weren't there, of course, but you were at the funeral. There's been so much emotion over the last couple of weeks. This is the best advert, isn't it, for MotoGP? The best tribute to Marco Simoncelli is the racing, is these guys doing battle out there on track.
I think so. I think Marco would like to see people not sad, to see people smiling, and to see people racing. And this is what we are doing. And it's not easy. It's a very hard moment for everyone, for all the family in MotoGP. But we are trying our best, and we made, I think, a very good tribute to him, no? This afternoon.
Yeah, and the tribute earlier on, we saw Kevin Schwantz leading out a parade of all the MotoGP bikes, all the family out there as well. Everyone who was in the paddock was out there on the front straight as well. All the Moto2 bikes, the 125 machines as well. It was a brilliant, really emotional, really touching moment to see everyone out on that front straight. And these guys are doing his memory a real honour with their battling, because he'd love this battle.
Ben is very close to Dani.
He's
Maybe
thinking
he tries
about
something.
it.
Maybe he tries something.
Up towards.
Yeah, no.
Here comes turn 6 through on the
yes.
inside of Dani Pedrosa. Lorenzo called it. Slight wobble coming out of the corner. You think maybe Pedrosa there yet, just has the drive coming down the back straight through turn 7, past King, and then into turn 8. Well,
you really must overtake Dani. If you don't overtake Dani in the acceleration, he's in front of you because his wave
He's got to make it stick.
in these points is quite a bit advantage, so you must overtake him completely.
11.5 laps to go here in Valencia. There's the replay. He almost got through.
You see, he doesn't overtake him, and impossible.
you have to get right in front of Pedrosa, but Speed's looking strong on the brakes. He is. Oh, here comes Pedrosa now.
Yes.
He was under attack, and now he goes back on the attack in front of Andrea Dovizioso. Coming out to the final corner, they are side by side. Down the home straight across the line, 11 laps to go, and Dovizioso got the power down to the ground.
With Andrea, it's not the same.
Dovizioso, Pedrosa, Ben Spies into turn 1, 11 laps ago. This is a fantastic battle for second place here in Valencia. Casey Stoner is cleared off at the front, chasing his 10th Grand Prix victory of the season, but we are entertained. I think everybody throughout the world is entertained. Lorenzo sitting alongside us entertained. This is a fabulous battle.
Yeah.
Ben Spies again closing up through those right-handers. He was cautious in the right-handers at the beginning of the race, but now feeling a bit more comfortable going into turn 4 and 5. Maybe again, no, Pedrosa blocks off, goes for a tighter line this time into turn 6. When you're tipping it into turn 4 and 5, first time on the right-hand side of the tyre, and it's cold every time. Are you thinking going into that coming round into turn 4?
Yeah, exactly. The turn 4 is really dangerous because you arrive from three corners in the left side. So when you arrive to the right, the tire is not warming off, especially in the first laps. So you must be very careful. I crashed many times because of this.
Yeah, it's extremely tough. We saw Spies had a bit of caution. He went with the harder front tyre, and I wonder if that just took a little bit of time as well to get working, but he certainly is there now, and certainly looking comfortable behind these two scrapping Hondas. Not many times we've said that about Dovizioso and Pedrosa, but I tell you what, they are putting on a show and a half today here for the Valencian crowd.
2/3 race distance. Dovizioso still leads the way from Pedrosa. Speed still in 4th place. Stoner has an advantage of over 9 seconds at the front. Karel Abraham in front of Cal Crutchlow. Rookie of the Year title when he's got one finger on it, but my words, you bet that Cal Crutchlow will have another go at him before them. There's Tony Elias in 8th place, 9th is Nakasuga. Josh Hayes running well in 10th spot. And what a baptism of fire for Josh Hayes at 36 years old.
I hope Lorenzo's bike beats Tectura bike.
Well, I tell you what though, Josh Hayes is having a good race on that bike for his first one. First time on a MotoGP bike, and it's rained one session, dry another, mixed one more session. It's harder.
It's not easy. These bikes are very, very sensitive, and you must be very prepared to be competitive, and he's doing well.
It's a Roshiyama in 12th place, his final ride in the MotoGP World Championship. He's going to go to World Superbike next season. We've almost forgotten about this man, and I tell you what, we've said that a few times this season, haven't we? Watching races behind.
And here comes Pedrosa obviously got through on Dovizioso again, and Dovizioso back in front. This is just going to go on and on, isn't it? Right down to the wire. And as we said, Ben Spies is ready to pounce any moment that he likes. He would be having a go.
Is Ben best to sit there, do you think, and wait, Jorge, or do you think he should be trying to have a go at them, or should he just bide his time there a little bit, Ben? What would you do?
What would you do if you were Ben Spies?
Now, yeah.
What would you do? Wait?
Yeah, I think at this situation it doesn't look that some of these three guys have something more. So if I would be Ben, I would stay there to see their fighting and taking risk.
Oh, and again, Pedrosa goes through into those right-handers that we were talking about.
They are really hot now. When someone passes you and then you pass again, and this makes you more hot, and sometimes it's not very good because you think less, no?
Yeah.
But Ben is good there in this position, and letting them to take some risk. in the overtakings and also being there to watch the track conditions. So if I would be in the same position as him, I will stay there and wait for the last laps.
Well, we think you might have to go now, but we just really want to thank you for joining us. Congratulations on a great season. We hope you get well soon. Hope your finger feels better soon. And hopefully back there with the new Yamaha M1 next year, fighting it out from Qatar.
I will be fighting. I don't know which position, but I will be fighting. I hope to fight for the first position.
Yeah, we need some of that rocky spirit yet again.
Yeah,
don't we, Jorge? Congratulations anyway on a great season.
Thank you, Gavin.
And thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you. Good to see you, Jorge.
Good
luck with the finger.
Thank you, thank you.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Jorge Lorenzo. A real insight into Grand Prix racing from the man that won that world title last year. Let's get back to the race. They're both former 125cc world champions, aren't they? And I think they both think they've come back about 6 or 7 years.
They were both on Honda as well back in the 125. Both won championships on the Honda 125 as well. Yeah, it's like they're almost on them again. Of course, it was the last ever 125cc Grand Prix earlier on today. They will become an all 4-stroke championship as from next year. Moto3 replacing the 125s, but it was a cracking race earlier on. Lots of drama, lots of things to talk about yet again.
Casey Stoner well en route now to his 10th Grand Prix victory of the season. And let's have a look at the start.
Now that was the moment there. You see, actually, Bautista moves in towards Dovizioso a little bit as well. Dovizioso's quite straight, that line coming down the straight. And there you can see, watch the faces of the crowd as they see it all unfold at the first corner. And the worried faces in there. They've all seen it happen. Hands to mouths. And Bautista goes down. Nothing he can do. He's waving his hands. And just look, Barbara in the right at the back of that group will have been forced to sit up.
7.5 laps to go for Casey Stoner. Well, actually, it's going to be 7 laps to go, isn't it? He's down the start and finished straight. That familiar number 27 on the Repsol Honda. It will be replaced by number 1 next year.
Still the battle rages on for the podium positions. Dovizioso still second. Pedrosa still in third place, and Ben Spiesi's there or thereabouts. Pedrosa thinks about it one more time.
Well, Lorenzo told us he'd sit and wait for the last few laps of the race, didn't he? I think he's doing exactly that.
Oh, now here comes Ben Spies. He's going to go through. Spies has fancied that for a couple of laps now in turn 5, and through he goes into third place and onto the podium. Does he want Dovizioso to finish in third in this championship? And I tell you what, if he went past Dovizioso now as well, either way that Dovizioso and Pedrosa finished, Dovizioso would be third in the championship.
Yeah, really, Pedrosa's got to finish in
he has to be second
place. He does,
Out of this group, he has to be second.
Yeah,
That's it.
Well done, Ben Spies, who had a wretched old time recently. Here we go, up the inside, as Gavin said, he's fancied it a few times. And as Jorge Lorenzo said, you've got to make it stick against Danny Pedrosa, because he gets so much power and acceleration, he'll get you back straight away. He didn't that time round. As I said, Spies missed the last 2 races and had a big crash on Friday. Really back to his best.
Just spaced out a little bit coming out of turn 11 that time. Just with that move from Spies. I wonder if Casey Stoner's lap times have dropped to 1:37. There is Jorge Lorenzo, who was just talking to us before. Thanks very much to him for his contributions today. We hope you could hear him well. We are down in pit lane commentating from. Yeah, we're down in just one of the early garages there, you could see on the screen. Just right in pit lane. We are practically sat almost next to Jorge Lorenzo's garage. And I tell you what, we can hardly hear ourselves think, so I hope you could hear everything down there.
The battle for Rookie of the Year continues to rage. At the moment, it's with Carol Aram, because it leads Cal Crutchlow. Loris Capirossi in 7th place on his final Grand Prix ride.
But I tell you what, Crutchlow set his best lap on the previous lap as well. So while Capirossi's just sat up a little bit. Joe, just in terms of conditions, are you going to say the same?
Yeah, the rain's holding off for oh no, actually, say that. it is actually spinning. I've just popped my head out from the Ducati.
Oh, of course, it's because you're inside.
What's your name, Emilio Alzamora?
there are some spots of rain falling with 6 laps to go.
All right.
Now, Ben Spies is thinking about a way through on Andrea Dovizioso now. Danny Pedrosa, look how wide he just followed Dovizioso in there. Dovizioso will have the drive out of turn 8 now. I'm just wondering where Pedrosa is in this battle. As he said, enough's enough. He's 1.5 seconds behind it all of a sudden. Is there a bit too much rain out there for him to be doing any more risking?
Well, those second bikes that we saw getting warmed up earlier on with the wet setups are now being started up again. Teams ready for riders to pit in if they do need to do that.
Yeah, Stoner's lap time, a 1:37 on that proof. You know what? Dovizioso is 3 seconds behind Stoner as well. That's not management, you know. Oh, look at Spies around the outside. He's just trying to, he'd love to get past. He obviously feels really comfortable in this race. And now he's going to surely come through on Dovizioso. Will he have the drive down the straight, though? Across the line, they are 2.5 seconds behind Stoner. Stoner just did a 1:43, but he's the guinea pig out front.
This is Ben Spies. He crashed out here on Friday afternoon. Safety through turn 1. Dovizioso in front of him. Is there a final twist in the tail of this final round of the World Championship? There could be.
I tell you what, Dovizioso is riding so well, and we can see the rain coming down now here at Valencia. And it's Stoner, and Spies comes through at turn 5 as he did on Pedrosa. He's into second place now, and he's 2.3 seconds behind Stoner, who's now in the same picture.
But the rain is beginning to pour down. Will they come in? 4.5 laps to go. I think if the rain continues like that, they're going to have to come in, aren't they?
Well, in terms
and it's decision time when you do come in.
The lap times in the wet were about 1:42 around there. So Stoner did a 1:43. Spies did a 1:39. The gap is 1.7 seconds. Spies fancies a second Grand Prix win here, just as in Assen when the spots of rain was falling, he came good. But we saw Stoner hold them off in Australia. Once they get there, it's all very well getting there. It's keeping in front of Stoner.
4.5 laps to go. You would not have believed this. The weather has played a great part in all the proceedings here this weekend, and it's having its final say. Ben Spies chasing Casey Stoner. Be interesting to see what the gap is when they come through the start and finish with 4 laps to go.
We said it would make it interesting, the weather this weekend, and it's certainly doing that. He'll get the sign across the line that Ben Spies is now 1.5 seconds behind him.
Stoner's left leg goes out as they go down into turn 1. Dovizioso's not done for yet. Closes up on Ben Spies as they go into turn 1. We ride with Andrea Dovizioso. Looks like he's going to be third in the championship.
They will try and bring it home now. They will surely try and bring it home.
Will.
But Dovizioso still has to stay on the bike and stay ahead of Pedrosa. He is 3.5 seconds clear of Danny Pedrosa, but it's Spies who's the fastest man on track at the moment. Cal Crutchlow has got in front of Carol Abraham as well, and he's pulled 9/10 on Abraham, so he obviously feels a little bit more comfortable in that Rookie of the Year battle.
How's the weather, Joe? 3.5 to go.
Yeah, it's still spotting rain quite heavily now. Last 3 laps is going to be really interesting.
It's almost too late to come in, isn't it? It's getting nearer and nearer.
You'd lose too much.
Yeah,
Stick
you
to
would.
Nicky Hayden after Australia. He gambled. Spies again closes in quickly.
Wow. This is really hotting up. 1.3 seconds now. You can see from the helicopter shot. Ben Spies closing up on Casey Stoner all the way. Still over 3 laps to go. The final round of the World Championship. There's going to be a final twist in the tail.
Still 1.3 seconds. Round turn 12. Then flick it left. He's been sliding the rear tyre. In qualifying, it was a sight to watch Stoner through there. Not too much sliding this time. Not pushing it too hard in there, but he'll know that Spies is closing. It'd be great to know, Joe, if you can have a look what sign they're giving him across the line, how far they're telling Spies is away, because what it will do is just make him twist that throttle and push the limits, push the boundaries that little bit more.
Well, they have been keeping Casey Stoner well informed of just how far Ben Spies is behind him, or well, how much he's taking out of him as well.
Yeah, now it's down to 1.35, so Stoner still strong in that last split. And they saw very well them seeing him and them being there, but getting past and staying past is another matter, and he will react to it as well. They've had the benefit of riding behind him, as Jorge Lorenzo said when he was with us earlier. Yeah, when you're testing out the conditions, that's the most difficult place to be.
But it does mean you can still pull up behind him, doesn't it? Okay, getting past, you've got to take the gamble. And Ben Spies, without a doubt, now is closing right up on
very
Casey
wide
Stoner.
for Stoner through turn 6, and Ben Spies takes over the lead in the Valencian Grand Prix. But he has to stay there now.
He doesn't know. He's the guinea pig testing out the conditions. And Casey Stoner sending him. You see what it's like, mate, out there in the front. You see just how far you can push it to the limit. But I reckon Speeds is on a mission at the front. He is flying with 2.5 laps to go. 1 win already this season at Assen. What a way to finish the season this would be. Disappointing year it may be for Yamaha, but this would really end on a big, big high.
Yeah, he said, I want to give a big farewell to Yamaha this year, and this would be ideal with no Jorge Lorenzo out there. Josh Hayes, in the meanwhile, is up into 9th place and past Tony Elias. That would be a fantastic result as he replaces Colin Edwards this weekend. It looks really, really drizzly out there now. Turn 14 looks the most treacherous part of the circuit to me as they come through there. Down the home straight, there are 2 laps remaining. Spies now leads from Stoner in 2nd place, Dovizioso in 3rd, and they are about 6 seconds clear of Pedrosa, so Dovizioso would be 3rd in the championship.
Here's the replay. Bit of a moment there for Stoner. Speeds takes full advantage up the inside and takes the lead on the Yamaha. We're back to real live action now. Final 2 laps of the MotoGP World Championship. It is ending on a mighty big high.
Yeah, I tell you what, that was Stoner just wary of the conditions, knowing he was almost about to go down in turn 6 last time, but he recovered it superbly well, saved it brilliantly coming into turn 6, got the power down and tagged right back onto the rear of Ben Spies. Spies is really strong in that section through those right-handers, making time up. He was on the Honda of Dovizioso and Pedrosa before, and he was just pulling on Stoner this time. Now it's Stoner's job, 1.5 lap to go to close down the Texan if he wants to take a 10th win of the season.
Through turn 8 for Ben Spies, as fast but as careful as he can be. Stoner just watches like a wily old fox behind him, doesn't he? Just let's see what conditions are going to be like out there. Spies looks behind him. He doesn't have to look too far. It's orange in his visor. It's Casey Stoner up through 13. Then they're going to flick it left. This is the most technical and difficult part of the circuit. Is it the wettest part of the circuit?
Round 13, and then it tightens while the bike is on a lean. It's a little bit soggy out there as well. This is not what you want at all. Ben Spies hooks it up nicely though, runs a little bit into pit lane, and I tell you what, Danny Pedrosa is under pressure now from Cal Crutchlow, who's about to come past the former double 250cc world champion. Here they come down the straight. We won't pass him down the straight, I'll tell you that much.
Carl Abraham knows he's got to pass Cal Crutchlow. He's going to be Rookie of the Year. Casey Stoner closes up on Ben Spies.
Josh Hayes up into 8th place now, past Loris Caparossi, who's struggling as the rain falls. The lap times 1:41s now out there. It is treacherous. Look at how much rain is on the camera lens. And this is brave riding from these MotoGP gladiators on the final lap now, with Ben Spies leading from Stoner. Dovizioso has settled for 3rd. As Stoner, is he going to have to settle for 2nd place?
I think he may. I think it's just a question if Ben Spies can keep this sort of pace up in these conditions. Again, he looks behind him. Number 11, the American, the Texan, the former world Superbike champion. He won his first Grand Prix in quite similar conditions at Assen in Holland earlier this season. He's missed the last 2 races. He's back with a bang. Is Ben Spies going to win his 2nd Grand Prix?
Oh, still a little bit to go on this final lap. Abraham's got through on Crutchlow and Pedrosa now. So Abraham, through that last split, goes up into 4th place. Ben Spies could have this one in the bag, depending on if Stoner can do anything around this long left-hander, the final corner on the circuit, which tightens up for turn 14. Crutchlow back in front. No, Abraham's down. Crutchlow could be about to take 4th place in this race. And Danny Pedrosa in 5th. Who's going to win it, though?
Through turn 14 they come, the very last bend of the new season, and Casey Stoner tries to put up alongside Ben Spies.
It could be Stoner! It's Stoner who wins! Coming out of the final corner, I do not believe it!
Oh, Casey Stoner pulls it out of the bag at the very last metre of the race. Andre Dovizioso 3rd, Cal Crutchlow 4, Danny Pedrosa 5. What a race!
Nakasuga on Jorge Lorenzo's bike is going to come home in 6th place. Well, who'd have thought this before the start of the race? Josh Hayes is going to take 7th place in the MotoGP race as a replacement for Colin Edwards this weekend. Oh, Carol Abraham, too many crashes this year, but he has shown us. He just points to his head. He points to his head and says, look, I've messed it up, guys.
And goodbye to Loris Capirossi. Thank you, Loris, for 22 incredible years.
And all the team are wearing those t-shirts. Grazie, Loris. Thanks, Loris. And he's done us all proud. Marco Simoncelli, who he's riding the number of this weekend, done him proud too. Tony Elias in 10th place. Hector Barbara's race was messed up right at the start, and the final finisher is Hiroshi Oyama. So everyone finished apart from those who went down, and I can't believe it, but Casey Stoner has won the race in the final corner, and it's a good friend of his, Ben Spies, who just misses out. Oh dear, it'll be prickly.
Wily old fox.
I just wonder in that final corner if there was a little bit of caution from Ben Spies, because it was treacherous in that final corner and just held up a little bit too much, and Stoner, the power of that Honda has just absolutely steamed out of the final corner.
I tell you what,
Ben.
when the 4 riders went down at the start and Casey Stoner cleared up, I was thinking this could be a very hard race to commentate. I tell you what, it was
Look how
not.
far he's come from. Well, I never.
Yeah.
He's got turbo on that.
Brilliant stuff from Casey. Poor
Did he
old
know
Ben
that all
Spies.
along? Look at that surprise. Look, they just weren't expecting it at all. And the team, they're expecting it to happen, and they go across, and
they thought he'd won.
Oh, just a complete opposite emotion. Oh dear. Loris Capirossi, I think, setting off the fireworks. What an end. There's Ingrid and his son Ricardo. Tears of joy. What a glorious career. A legend of MotoGP bids goodbye to us all, and there will be tears inside that helmet. What a legend Loris Capirossi is.
3rd place in the championship to Andrea Dovizioso. That's what he wanted. He finished 3rd in the race. Goodbye to Honda.
But let's not forget as well, this race, I tell you what, the scrapping that was going on was a real tribute to Marco Simoncelli. The big crash in the first corner, we were, you could fear all the worst, but everyone was fine. Everyone got up, and they've put on a great show. Ben Spies was leading down into the final corner, out of the final corner, but Casey Stoner's brought it home, and I'm sure he'll share a laugh and a hug with Ben Spies afterwards. But he's won his 10th Grand Prix of the season, 16th podium finish of the year, equaling the most podiums in a single season. That's in 17 races, which has previously been set by Lorenzo Rossi. Look at that. That's good sportsmanship between the American and the Australian. Spies will be furious with himself, I suppose, but maybe he thought there's nothing I could do as well.
No, he is. He's unhappy, and rightly so. He thought he'd won the race. Well done, Casey Stoner, but well done, Andrea Dovizioso. He is finished 3rd in the championship. Goodbye to Honda, but he won the one he had to do, the battle with Danny Pedrosa.
Yeah, Pedrosa eventually in 5th behind Cal Crutchlow. And let's not forget that Cal has just had his best MotoGP result so far. He was so close to a similar result earlier on in the year at Jerez in the tricky conditions there, in Jerez. And in the end, he has finally taken a 4th place, and he is Rookie of the Year in MotoGP in 2011. No mean feat. I know there are only 2 of them on it, but Carol Abraham's had a decent season in patches.
It's going to be very interesting to hear what Casey Stoner has to say, isn't it? I know the first bit would be, well, I was the guinea pig for too long.
Yeah.
Time somebody else had a little go out the front there, but he did catch Ben Spies cold coming into that final, coming out of that final turn into the finish straight. Andrea Dovizioso says goodbye to Honda.
And Ramon Orin is crew chief as well. He says that one's for Marco. And I tell you what, he was racing as if he was Marco Simoncelli on the bike today.
I think both him and Danny Pedrosa early were on way,
Loris Capirossi's just come into pit lane as well. There's an absolute huge crowd. All the other teams have gathered round and have applauded him.
Well, he deserves every decibel of that applause. Cal Crutchlow takes Rookie of the Year with 4th place. Well done. The BBC just grabbing him now for a quick word as well. There's his girlfriend Lucy.
It's a great ride by Cal Crutchlow, and that's going to do his winter a great deal of good, isn't it?
Yeah, big boost before testing.
Yeah. What an end of the season. Mary Spies looks on. I think she's very, very pleased to see son finishing 2nd and riding so brilliantly, but probably a bit disappointed he didn't win the race.
This was Abraham. He'd obviously just been passed by Pedrosa. Well, he went through on Crutchlow, and he almost goes through on Pedrosa. Yeah, he actually did go through on them both, but then did he crash out?
He's hanging in there at the moment, isn't he? This is Crutchlow back up the inside of Carol Abraham.
Completely clean as well.
Yeah. I think he's going to go down.
Just sat up.
Oh, he nearly brought Crutchlow down as well.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Just trying to hold it in a little bit too much. This is what he'll have seen from his onboard there, where he ran it wide out of turn 10, and then trying to cut across. He sees, there. Well, he could have taken them both down, and yeah, that was Abraham as he pointed to his head. He tried, didn't he? One thing that Carol Abraham is, and it's a trier. He's so disappointed. He's gutted, isn't he, with that? Oh, well, he gave it a good go. 8th in the race in the end.
What a great race. What a tribute to Marco Simoncelli. They really did lay it on the line there. Casey Stoner wins by, what is that?
15 thousandths of a second.
From Ben Spies. Andrea Dovizioso third to cement his third place in the championship. Cal Crutchlow, what a ride by him in 4th. Danny Pedrosa, Nakasuga 6th. Josh Hayes in 7th place. Carol Abraham got back on the bike to finish 8th. And goodbye to Loris Capirossi in 9th place. Tony Elias and Hector Barbara, Rossi Oyama all got really involved in that crash on the very first bend that saw Randy De Punier, Alvaro Batista, Valentino Rossi and Nicky Hayden not make it through turn 1 on lap 1.
Estamos a la espera de que lleguen ya los pilotos a la zona del podio.
It's a fair old lead in the World Championship, isn't it? After 17 races, 90 points separate Casey Stoner and Jorge Lorenzo. But Andrea Dovizioso takes 3rd, Pedrosa 4, Ben Spies 5, Marco Simoncelli in 6th place.
Well, he hangs on to that 6th
he does,
place.
with Rossi going down and Nicky
Level
Hayden
on
going
points
down.
with Valentino Rossi at the end of the year, but by virtue of his 2nd place in Australia, Simoncelli posthumously finishes in 6th place in the championship.
Cal Crutchlow, 3-point advantage over Carol Abraham to take Rookie of the Year. 9 very hard fought points and very worthy points there for 36-year-old Josh Hayes.
There is Loris Capirossi chatting with his crew, his little son alongside him.
He's got some red eyes, hasn't he?
Well, I think there'll be a few more later on tonight.
Yeah.
Ciao to Loris, and thanks for the memories, Loris, because, well, you've given us so many. What a stalwart of this championship, and never ever gave less than 100% right until the very end in awful conditions today. We'll miss him. We'll miss him dearly.
Right there. He'll miss us, I think, as well. That's why I think he'll be around. But wants to enjoy family life a little bit. Home in Monaco, his son, his wife Ingrid. That's our last look at the Ricardo Tormo circuit this season. We'll be back next year, of course. Again, it will be the final round of the World Championship. I wonder what the situation's going to be then. That's going to be interesting in 12 months' time.
Teams world champions are the Repsol Honda team. For those thinking, oh, well, they had 3 riders. No, it was only the first finishing Repsol Honda rider and the 3rd finishing Repsol Honda rider that got the points, and they still did the business today. You'd have thought almost a 1-2-3 today, but it wasn't. It was Spies in amongst the mix. But, right at the bottom there, sorry, LCR Honda, what will they be doing next year? Who will be riding for them?
Honda win the constructors from Yamaha, Ducati and Suzuki.
That is their 60th constructors title across all categories, 18th in the Premier class.
Hiroshi Oyama, he's bowed out of Grand Prix racing for the time being. He'd be a very, very good competitor in the World Superbike Championship next year.
So your podium finishers then. In the Grand Prix Generale of Valencia, 3rd place Andrea Dovizioso, 2nd place Ben Spies, and by 15 thousandths of a second, number 27, Casey Stoner.
He's had a few runaway wins this season. He left this one a little bit late, didn't he?
How he pushed out of that corner. He still fancied it, didn't he? Still thought there was a chance, and he did right, because he's gone and nicked it on the line.
Yamaha was celebrating, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were back in the pit garage. They thought they'd won it. But a fitting end to the season and a fitting tribute to Marco Simicelli. We enjoyed that, didn't we?
We don't have to ask you anymore, Joe, if it's raining down there now.
Well, it is.
Yeah, you've done a sterling job this weekend, Joe. The conditions have been horrendous.
And all season too, of course.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know what you preferred, the rain and cold or the heat of Malaysia.
Yeah.
It's certainly
Take your pick.
Yeah.
It's a toughie.
The rear tyre of Casey Stoner's bike, the soft tyre chosen in the end. I think it was the only option in those cold conditions for the rear tyre. In the front, like a bit more, like a stiffer construction in the front there. Both he and Spies went with it, and they were first and second in the race, so it paid dividends. Their lap times right at the end there, 1:41s. Well, they were doing the same on wet tyres, so that can tell you its own story.
Tell you what we have done well today is get through all the races without any of them being stopped in those conditions. None of the races were stopped in the end, were they?
Amazing.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have taken a bet of that when we got out of bed this morning, but they've done well. We've seen two new world champions, Nico Tirol and Stefan Bradl, of course. We've seen an amazing MotoGP race, and the 10th Grand Prix victory of this season for the world champion Casey Stoner. I would think that has been the toughest of them all. Certainly been the closest of them all.
Yeah, they'll do a nice photo call as well just after we do our interviews. There'll be the podium, then the interviews, and then do a nice photo call with all three world champions on the main grid. It's always one of the most favoured photos of the year by the MotoGP hacks.
They like being called MotoGP.
Well, they are.
That's what we're going to call them. Jarvis from Yamaha, of course. A good smile. I don't think they fancied perhaps even being on the podium this weekend. To nearly win the race was very, very good for them. But after coming so close to winning it, it's a bit of mixed feelings, isn't it?
There's been some nice banners out all weekend. It's another nice one. Great memory.
Marco would have loved to have been in that battle, wouldn't he? He would have relished that.
I'll tell you what, Andrea Dovizioso was channeling
Yeah, I think he was.
Simicelli today, because I've never seen him race so aggressively.
The riders now making their way to the podium for the final time this season. And it will be Casey Stoner on the top step. And,
Australian national anthem again.
Yeah.
For the 10th time this year.
because the last time we heard it, he was declared a world champion at Phillip Island in Australia, wasn't he, after winning the race there?
Vito Ippolito's just on the left there, patting Ben Spies on the back.
I think Ben Spies disappointed initially, but thinking that actually won a bad old ride. That it was a very good ride, Ben Spies. Dovizioso delighted to be finishing third in the World Championship. They're still laughing about it,
yeah.
Casey. And
so she's not set for a trip to the North Pole there, I say, to be honest.
She's got to look after herself now, hasn't she? Baby due in January, isn't it?
February should be, yeah. Obviously they'll be in the middle of testing then as well. Nakamoto,
I tell you what, has he been up on the podium
No.
before? He wouldn't go in Australia.
No.
They pleaded with him, but he said no, but he's decided he will go up there now.
Yeah.
Very, very modest, shy man, isn't he?
I think the president of HRC as well is here, Suzuki-san, Tetsuo Suzuki. He's here this weekend too. So
They're still laughing, Ben Spies
and
and Casey.
Nakamoto's engineered the World Championship back to Honda.
Dead right. Signing Casey Stoner was pretty important. The development of the bike that we could see last year, it was coming. But it was the master stroke, wasn't it, signing Casey Stoner? I don't think there's any doubt
The
about
final piece in the jigsaw for me.
Yeah.
Andrea Dovizioso will savour that one for a long time. Third in the championship for Dovi.
Second place, Ben Spies. Must have thought he was going to win the race as he came out of that final bend, but a great end to the season for the Texan on the factory Yamaha.
And for the 10th time this year on the top step of the podium and taking the trophy from the FIM president Vito Ippolito, Casey Stoner wins the Grand Prix of Valencia.
Escuchamos en honor del vencedor el himno de Australia.
Casey Stoner can enjoy Advanced Australia Fair once more on the top step of the podium. His wife proudly watches on from down below. And that's
the
podium for the Valencian Grand Prix.
Yeah, as has been the case in all the classes today. The champagne bottles will come, but they will not spray the champagne in respect to a man that would have loved every minute of this race today.
Yeah, I think I'll just have a little toast as well, probably.
Yeah.
To Marco.
That applause is as much for Marco as it is for Casey Stoner.